Hey everyone, this is Scott from Scott to Grow Podcast. Welcome to another edition of ReWatching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Today I'm talking about Season 3, Episode 18, The Singularity. I'm just going to be starting off with the plot summary, and then just talking about my general thoughts about this episode and any foreshadowing or Easter eggs I might have noticed. So let's just start with that plot summary, which says, escaping the base mostly unharmed, S.H.I.E.L.D. know that Daisy could have killed them all and believe that there is hope for freeing her from Hive. Fitz and Simmons seek out transhumanist Holden Radcliffe, who believes in the improvement of humanity through enhancement and whose studies of parasites could help with counteracting Hive's abilities. Hive turns Alicia Whitley, a replicating inhuman ally of S.H.I.E.L.D., and James after first giving him Terrigen, which allows him to embed objects with fire to Hive's cause, and taking this army to interrupt Fitz and Simmons. Daisy warns Fitz of her vision. Hive's memories of Daniels petitions Simmons to move on with her romantic life, and the others kidnap Radcliffe, taking him to a town that Hive bought with Malik's remaining fortune, where he intends to recreate the original Kree experiments that made the first Inhumans. Talbot and the ATCU use Malik's final intel to completely dismantle Hydra's remaining infrastructure, and Fitz and Simmons finally consummate their relationship. Ooh la la. So that's the plot summary for this episode. This was an interesting and fun episode because we get Radcliffe, which I'm super excited for. That's one of my favorite characters in this show to be introduced, mainly because I like the actor from all of the other things he's done, The Mummy first, and then he was also in Spartacus. So I just really enjoy that actor who plays Holden Radcliffe, and so I'm excited for his character to join the show. And it's also, the first steps before we get to the, all the events that come from this character being introduced, which are big parts of the next couple seasons of this show. So it's kind of a really exciting thing for this character to be introduced in this one, and introduced in kind of such a way that it's like, you don't really, he could have been like a kind of throwaway character, you know what I mean? Just like a character who popped up, was used just for these next couple episodes for what he needed, and then he could have just been gone from the show, but I feel like he made such a great impact, he fit in so well with the cast, and he was just such a great character to do the, follow the next couple seasons plot lines. Or maybe they just planned for this all along and they brought him in this case to go all the way through in the next couple seasons. But I really enjoy the character, and I really enjoyed his introduction, especially with him sitting there pretending about to let Fitz and Simmons change his eye. Apparently that was a prosthetic one. I don't know if we ever really addressed that again, but that was just a kind of fun intro for the character, which was just really fun to rewatch. But some of the other things I liked about this episode, we see May fly the Zephyr through the base. The doors are like half open. That was a really cool little effect that they showed, and I just like that they went to the trouble of just doing that, even though you really could have written around that whole scene, the whole CG, because that probably cost some money. That cost some money to make that scene of the plane go up like that, and it was all because the doors didn't open all the way. So just kind of funny little thing that they wrote in there, just simply to make another cool looking scene, which I enjoy and I appreciate. So Radcliffe, a murder vest on Lincoln. When Lincoln's joining on a mission, they put a vest on it that can explode if he gets taken over by Hive, which I thought was a little extreme, but it also seems like he maybe went a little overboard with being a little defensive about it, being like, well, what do you want us to do, man? Like, if you want to come, we gotta put a little collar on you, I'm sorry. So I thought that was an interesting tactic to go about it. We get Fitz and Simmons undercover again in this episode. I love seeing those two going kind of solo on a mission. They had Mac as backup, but it's just those two in the thick of it themselves, having to convince these less than savory characters of their intent. And so I just really enjoy it. I always love when Fitz and Simmons are out undercover and having their own little things. And they also talk a lot about their relationship in this one, which they finally at the end, like it said in the plot summary, consummated. They finally get to the business of doing business, which really, I guess, doesn't matter either they're here or there, but it kind of just shows a progression of their relationship from friends to that next level. So that was a little part that we got in this. And then, we get Coulson's laser arm shield in this part, which I love that thing. I love all the gadgets they put into Coulson's, bio arm or whatever you want to call it, robotic arm. So like this one we got the shield, and the shield's probably one of my favorite things, especially like the line about it. He's like, I thought it'd be cool for the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. to have a shield, and Fitz agreed. So we put a shield in the arm, and I'm like, yes, that's the Coulson I love. That's why I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Give me more arm shields. And I like that it had, you know, the shield symbol on it too, so it's just such a great thing. I love that little part about it. But what else? Yes, Simmons talks with Hive via Williams / what was his name, Daniels. And so, yeah, that was an interesting little scene. In the plot summary, it says he's petitioning her to move on with her life, or her romantic life, which I feel like, I don't think she was like really held back because Williams, like before that she knew he was dead, maybe, but after Hive took him over, I think she's clearly moved on from that, but maybe it was just my misreading of that situation. What else do I have written down? Oh, and Daisy threatening Fitz. Like, that is such a hardcore scene, especially with like the lines you hear Daisy say, you know, this is my thoughts, this is me, da da da, and you're just like, well, that's what a brainwashed person would think. Daisy, come on. But she's brainwashed, so it's like, and she's just, like, for a moment you think, is she gonna break out of this? Like, she's gonna snap Fitz's neck, but I think that's when you kind of really learn that this isn't just something she can't just snap herself out of it, or that's the impression we get in this episode, I should say, at least. It's not something she just snap out of, because, you know, she's threatening Fitz, she's choking Fitz, she's pulling a Darth Vader on Fitz, and doesn't snap her out of it. She doesn't care, she just keeps going with, you know, being under Hive's control. So I thought that was a really kind of powerful scene to kind of make us believe 100% that she can't just come back from what Hive has done to her, which has built a little tension for these next few episodes. And then finally at the end we get the ATCU taking out Hydra's infrastructure, which I think is a really kind of funny way that they make sure to word it that way. Cause like, well, they didn't completely take out Hydra, they're just taking out its like main, you know, the main structure that Hydra was kind of built from, but it's kind of still got some little things, but we get to them being eventually all destroyed via the Avengers movies and etc. But yes, so that was an interesting part to just kind of squeeze in at the end of this episode, but I think we get to it a little bit more throughout the season, but I'm not sure. I'll have to get to those episodes to be sure. That brings me to the end of this episode and this video. Be sure to let me know in the comments below if there's anything about this episode that you liked or any foreshadowing or Easter egg elements I might have missed. But thanks again for joining me today, and have a good one.